John, important to get that win against Barrow today with this little mini break of games you've got.
Yeah, we spoke about the fact that we're now a third of the way through the season, and everybody always says they don't look at the league table. Well, they're all telling fibs, aren't they? So we're fourth, a third of the way in, and with the run of fixtures that we had, especially at the very start, I'm really pleased with where we're at, league-wise. Performance-wise, I think we're growing as a team, but there's still improvement in us, which is really pleasing as well. And obviously we had a little setback to team run on Friday in that Shane Grady and Adam Brown both pulled out. They had tweaks of the hamstring and we couldn't risk them today. So there was a reshuffle, and I just thought that they handled that very, very well indeed.
Obviously, you've won 6 from 9, but very close to having won 8 out of 9,
Correct.
which would have been excellent, wouldn't it, really?
It would, yes.
So, happy with where you've gone so far. What about today's performance against Barrow? You always felt like you were always going to win the game, but perhaps didn't get quite as far ahead as you would have liked.
Well, what we've got to realise, and what we spoke about, they're desperate. They're in a relegation scrap, and I think they would admit that as a club. And when you're in a relegation scrap, your sleeves get rolled up, and you just become desperate, and you grind and you work away, because it wasn't a fluent Barrow performance like you'd expected last year, where the ball was pinging about everywhere and Jarrett Sammett was doing this, that and the other. It was a very disciplined one where they tried to ground out a win, but thankfully for us we had enough quality to counter that and to come on the right side of the scoreboard.
Did you feel that was perhaps evident by them taking the penalty as early as they did in the game?
Yeah, but we did. I mean, when we were 13-2 up, half time, I had the mental note that should we get 2 points, we're going to take it, just to take us that score away. And I thought Jack Owens was very clever today. I thought that 1 point drop goal when the hood had gone was smart, and I thought some of his and Danny Craven's decision making were outstanding. They really did control the game. The players a really good half-back partnership, and a pat on the back for Matty Fozzard, who was giving us 80 minutes of quality in the number 9, and because we had to use John Johnson as an out-and-out 13. So there's been a bit of adversity. They've answered it really well, and they've come up with the win.
Yeah, I mean, similar to last week, really, where you're dominating the set-for-set play, dominating the territory, and you're ending sets, really well, kicking really well. I think Barrow, I don't know what the stats are, but I bet 90% of the sets they started were in their own 20 metres, and that must be pleasing for you. It
is, and yeah, obviously you've picked up on the game plan, haven't you? Yeah, because they are a dangerous team, and they've got a maverick player who can do anything. And what we needed to do was make sure that they couldn't be offloading the ball in dangerous situations, or Jarrett Sammett producing a bit of magic in a dangerous situation. So we had to make them work their way away from their own line, and I thought Danny Craven and Jack Owen did it absolutely superbly well.
And Owen Farmer as well, another game under his belt. Yep. It's a lot more like Owen Farmer this week than...
I agree, you've picked it up straight, and I just said that to him in the changing room. It was more like the old Owen Farmworth today, so really pleased with that. Another step forward. Now he's got another 2 weeks hard work before we've come up with Batley and Featherstone, which is a heck of a week to be reintroduced to, isn't it?
Yeah, because I suppose that with Owen Farm and Callum Field, the starting props really give you that platform, but also midway in that second half, when maybe Barrow were getting a bit ahead of steam, you brought them two on. Correct. And they really solid it up.
Yes,
in the
they did. They really shored it, and Jordan Johnson as well. I thought that they really shored it up and they tightened us up that little bit. So all credit to them.
You're missing Kyle Amor as well. Was that an injury on his point of view, or?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I mean, he's out of the equation. So if he's out of the equation, we've got to get on with it. And just as I say, we had that adversity with Shane Grady and Adam Brown. So the lads have handled it. It isn't about the lads who are sat in the stands. It's about the lads who have got the shirts on, and they did a great job.
And I suppose if you were missing players, you'd prefer to miss them in the forwards and the backs based on the depth of your squad at the moment.
Yeah, I think so. Again, I thought young Zach Eckersley did a great job, and Joe Edge is just growing week in, week out. We've got 2 good wingers, and Flem's not bad at fullback. So we're in a good place, but we can't fall in love with ourselves. But we've got to just now regroup, reassess, and then go forward once again with, as I say, 2 really difficult games to reintroduce us in Batley away and Featherstone at home.
How do you approach this period? Of course, you can have 2 full weekends without a game, and strictly speaking 3 weekends without a game, because of course the Batley game's on a Monday night.
Yeah.
I guess there's pros and cons to it, but how do you approach that period?
Well,
now?
First, there's a fair few players carrying bumps and bruises and knocks, so we've just said that part of this period is to make sure that we get over them. So we've got a bigger squad and a fully fit squad to sort of attempt to pick from. So that's the first one. The rest and the recovery is very important. They're going to get a tough week's training because there's no weekend games, so it'll be like a mini pre-season, and then they'll get a week off away from the club, so they can freshen up mentally, and then, as I say, we've got a week's prep to come up for Batley and then Featherston.
Does that mean you'll be watching some other games at the weekends in the next couple of weeks?
Yeah, definitely. Well, I'll be going to Batley on for their cup game and having a good look at them, and that's what you've got to do. But it gives us a great deal of opportunity to really make sure that we're a fit, an energised and an enthusiastic squad for the next couple of games.